Hey, Margaret. Hey, Sammy.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me on here. I'm so excited.
Thank
Yes,
you for being here.
I can't remember if it was 2 years or 3 years since I've had you on the podcast, Margaret, but we're so excited to have you back.
Thank you. Thank
It's
you. Excited to be back.
Yeah,
I
and it's
think
been
it's,
amazing to see what Toxic Angels has accomplished in the last few years. It's amazing how much the business is just growing and the social media presence, and the suits are obviously just getting better and better too, with a lot more styles and options that we'll definitely talk about today.
yeah.
So, for those that maybe don't know you, I think most listeners probably know who you are, but maybe give your, 60-second elevator pitch of who you are and what do you do.
Okay, so my name is Margaret. I'm the owner of Toxic Angelz Bikinis, and we make suits, for the bikini, wellness, figure, women physique division in the bodybuilding industry. And before I started Toxic Angels, I taught myself how to make bikinis, but before that, I was going to school to be a dental hygienist. And I didn't know that I was going to be going in this direction. So when I got into the hygiene program, I had already started kind of dwindling and making bikinis. And when I got in, I was like, what do I do? Do I stick and go with school? It's a safe route. I'm going to get a degree, or do I follow my dreams? A month in from being in the dental hygiene program, I was like, I want to follow my dreams. So I feel bad for all the ladies in class because it is really hard to get in. And I took someone's spot, but I really just, my calling was to follow my dreams. So I did that. And yeah, it just kind of, now we're here. So,
Yeah. And you have a really incredible story. We talked about it in a lot of detail in the first episode of
mhm.
Bikini Things that we had you on, so I'll definitely link that. I wanted
Yeah.
to pull up a clip from the women's workshop, but I think it
Okay.
might look or sound a little pixelated. But the story
Yeah.
that you told from where you started to where you're at now it's just incredible. And I think it's
Yeah.
so inspiring for anyone, not just women in the
Yeah.
sport, but anyone in general going after a big goal. So can you tell us a little bit, like, what did the early days of Toxic Angels really look like?
Well, there was a lot of making suits and trying to perfect like the perfect pattern. And I went into the gym and I would just pull out like people, like random ladies, be like, hey, can you try on my suits? So that's how I started, because I wanted to make sure that every pattern fit different body types. And then I would have people try it on at the gym and I would adjust it to how I need it to be. But I did a lot of that, so I wasn't scared. I just put myself out there and I'm like, hey, can you please just try it on? We took pictures. And then I networked with a lot of coaches in the industry. I had competed in 2009, 10, and 11 at that time. And I started my business in 2014, 10 years ago. And so I had competed. So I just kind of networked with people that I knew when I was competing at that time and just put myself out there, And then as I grew, I hired people. But I did most of it myself in the beginning for the first, I want to say, 6 to 8 months. Um, yeah.
Yeah. And what was your lifestyle like? I mean, I know the story, Margaret, but in terms of what you had to do to like get your business off the ground and stuff, can you tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Okay. So you want to know how what really
Yeah.
happened? So basically,
Give us all the juicy
I
details.
will give you all the juicy details. Okay, so we'll start from the beginning. I was living like I was renting a room from, a friend, and at that time I was making the bikinis, right? And I was working in the dental field, and I was making the bikinis, but then I got laid off. So I decided to start making bikinis. And she kicked me out. She's like, you can't run your business out of here. I had people coming, that are still actually competitors now, like my clients now, they're still my clients now, which is crazy. But they would come and like go in the room and she's like, you can't be here. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? So I ended up renting an office building, and it was one of those office buildings that's really old, and you walk upstairs and there's a bunch of like office buildings, but it was really old. And I ran my business out of there. I think it was like 400 square feet, but I also lived in it. And I remember just being so scared at night. Like I didn't have a shower or a bathroom. And every time I'd go to the bathroom, I had to lock my office door because I didn't know who was in that office building at that time. And then I would go to the bathroom, and then God forbid if I accidentally locked myself out of my office. But that's what I did. And then I would take showers at the gym at that time, and then I would eat, off like processed foods. And I don't want to cry right now, but but I remember just I was living off whatever food that I could microwave because I didn't have a kitchen, and I worked really really hard. I think at that time I didn't have unemployment. I was collecting food stamp money to survive. I stopped paying my bills because if I paid my bills, then I couldn't get ahead with the business. So I had to sacrifice something. And obviously I pay my bills now, but at that time I had to sacrifice something, because I needed to succeed in this business. I, quit school. This needed to work for me. And I was putting everything I could into building this business. And that's, yeah, kind of like how it started.
Mhm.
So
It's an incredible story, Margaret.
Yeah.
It really
it's
is.
just crazy.
With what Toxic stands for now, like promoting confidence in women and just allowing them to be their best self on stage, to hear that story and the message that Toxic portrays is just amazing.
Yeah. It's just so crazy. Like I just never thought I would actually like be here and like, you know, we make suits literally for everyone, and I work so hard to making sure that the suits are top quality, making sure that the stones don't fall off, making sure that there's different options to fit everyone's body type, and that's what I really stress. And so during the workshop, I mentioned like each year my team and I, we sit down, like usually the winter time when it's a little bit slow, we sit down and we say, what can we do better for the year? How can we make things better? And we try to perfect that because we want everyone to look and feel amazing in their suit. I don't ever want anyone to worry about their suit. And that's what's amazing is like everything is customized, So but yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. With that being said, talking about, like the progression and how the team tries to get better every year, what have you noticed since 2014 to now in terms of styles and colors and the changes in the industry?
Well, I feel like back then they were doing a lot of those like dangly connectors where it's like dangles down on the side of your hip.
Yes.
And then also the back connectors, like there was a lot of those back connectors that have like the dangle in the back, and it almost looked like curtains. I don't know. And then there was those thick like fence connectors. So those, we sold a lot in the beginning, and obviously now it just takes away from the body. Not a lot of people order those styles. We don't offer the dangle style, but we do offer the fence style. But now like more of the clients are doing the simple dainty connectors. So having the dainty connectors did not take away from the body. But I also know like back then when the patterns were a lot different, the front coverages, they were more like straight on the bottoms, and they were just really tiny, and now we shape them for every body type, height. We have different options to enhance, portray a certain, your body features. But yeah, it's come a long way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How about some of the differences with like color choices, stones? I know back in the day, suits didn't even have to be bedazzled. Like, what are some of the other things that you've seen change over the years, Margaret?
Yeah, I just think I remember back then I wore like sequins, like my fabric was sequins. And when I first started in 2014, there were a lot of those with minimal stones. And I feel like the color choices weren't as strict, or back then, I feel like people wore whatever color. But now judges like mostly the gem tones. So you want to stick with like the reds, the blues, the purples, or the greens. Nothing too light because it will take away from the body. I feel like if you do something light, the stage light hits it, it gets even lighter, and sometimes the clients can get washed out. Um, what else? What else was I gonna say?
Would you
Those
say
are
like
probably the main ones, right? I mean, the connectors, the cuts, the
Yeah,
colors, the stone coverage. It's changed a lot over the last 10 years. Like back then you would
yeah,
see, because I know that's around the time I got interested in bodybuilding, and you would see like lime green suits, a lot of coral suits, a lot of yellow
coral.
suits. You know, and you do
Yeah,
see those colors now, but I think you've got to have the right complexion and hair color to pull certain ones like that off. Not everyone can do
totally.
that.
Totally. And
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think like different, like I know NPC is really about like the gem tones, but then there's other organizations that don't care and the girls wear all the colors, you know, but I generally do when I'm selecting suits for clients, I want to make sure that they pop and stand out and keeping in mind that when the stage light hits it, it lightens the suit up a little bit more. So,
Yeah.
Would you say like so I know obviously you said now they look for more of those gem colors, but in the progression of bodybuilding and as it started to get more prominent, were there ever guidelines that were given to you, or was it just like, hey, I'm going to try this out and if it works, then we're going to run with it, or did you have
you
some
know,
time?
there weren't any like guidelines. I just think the business grew so fast, and I'm so thankful for that. That like a lot of the coaches are really involved, and so as it grew, clients were like, "I want a red suit, I want a blue suit," and then I just saw that that was trending, and you know, I talked to some judges, and they said, you know, the gem tones. So I think over time, it's just the coaches would tell their clients to order this color, and it just became kind of like a trend. And then I noticed after talking to some judges, you know, that's what they liked. I'm like, okay, you know, but like I said, every organization is different. I know with NPC, IFBB, they're all, you know, the gem tones. So
Yeah. And I think a lot of that too, we'll get into this. So I'm excited for us to talk about like what we
yeah,
think is trending and new for this year. But I think a lot of it, it's just kind of like fashion. And I think the top Olympian girls tend to set the trends that sort of trickles
totally.
down through the rest of the pro league into the NPC. And so whatever tends to do well at the Olympia does well everywhere else the year or two following. Like back in, 2013, 14, 15, you saw like Ashley Kay when she was winning
Yeah,
her Olympias, she wore those big fence connectors that you were talking
totally.
about, or someone like
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Lewin when she was a really
Totally.
well-known top athlete, she had those big fence
The
connectors.
dangle.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
over the years the styles start to change. Like you see, Ashley, I think she wore like blues and greens, and then you see Courtney King
Mm-hmm.
kind of come in with purples, and by 2016, 2017, it's mostly like blues, purples, reds in that top 5 or 6 of the Olympia. And so it's like it kind of dictates,
Totally.
the
Totally.
same thing down to the NPC.
Totally.
What might be really cool, I don't know what you ladies think about this. What if we like pulled up maybe the design guide or something? I think it would be neat to maybe, or the website, and just pick Margaret's brain a little bit about how you
Yeah,
would go
totally.
about picking out a suit based on your physique,
Yeah.
based on, your hair color and skin tone.
I love
Um,
that.
yeah, Sammy, is that something you could easily do, or if you pull up the website and screen share the design guide?
I have a design guide on my desktop.
Oh,
Perfect.
perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I have
we've
some
talked about
suits
it
here
too,
too.
but you know, another plug is, Sammy's now doing all the fittings. So anyone who's interested can book with Margaret, can book with Sammy. I no longer do the fittings, but anyone is welcome to slide in my DMs and I'll answer questions.
Laura knows it all too.
Yeah. I try to stay up on it. So, if you guys ever
Yeah.
need me for events, I've got my knowledge up to date. Yeah, there's a part of me that wants to do a really random color next time I'm on stage, but I think I still have a while.
When's your next show?
I have no idea. I have to just get bigger. So, might be a while.
Oh,
Oh, it's
I
so
love our
cute.
new design guide.
Yeah, it's Mean Girls themed, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, like the burn book.
The
Love
burn
it.
bug. Yep.
Awesome. So why don't we do this? What if we just kind of walk through some of the choices and options?
Yeah.
Sammy and Margaret, maybe you can kind of just give us your best tips or tidbits on how someone could go about picking out a suit that's going to flatter them the best.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Let's
I don't know what's
do
the first one.
coverages.
Oh yeah, I could talk about the top coverages.
Yeah.
So our regular style is actually our most like universal top style. I recommend this a lot with, clients who are very petite on top. And or keep in mind our top sizes run really, really small compared to other bikini brands. So, someone if they are an A cup, then I would size up, believe it or not, size it to a large regular style top, and then I would add padding inside and stuffing to create more of a fuller look. And having the bigger top will allow you to stuff it to create the volume. Now, when you jump into like the moderate slim top, it is a little bit more skinnier, slightly a little higher on the chest. I recommend this for clients who have very stubborn implants that kind of want to like go out. The moderate slim style will really just like cup you nicely and bring them closer together as long as your top is tied really tight. The long slim style is a little bit more skinnier than actually, I think it's the same width as the moderate slim, but it's a lot higher on your chest. So I would recommend this for clients who are more busty on top. Like let's say you're 5'3", but you're 36 double D. So you're very busty on top. Having that long slim style will elongate the chest, creating more of a balanced look from her top to her bottom. And then the molded top is actually one of our newest top styles. And you could wear it if you have implants. Sometimes if you have implants, you still want to add the bra pads in there because you will lose some natural breast tissue before your show day. But you could also do it if you are very petite on top and just extra stuff with bra pads and stuffing to create a fuller look. But you want to make sure your top is tied really tight for that. And then the bra top, I feel like we launched that a few years ago when wellness first came out, and they were still deciding what the standard would be for the top styles. But currently, we don't get too many clients ordering that, but it is available.
Yeah. Hey, Margaret,
Yeah.
go ahead and
Mhm.
adjust your camera real quick so we can see your face a little more.
Can you see my
Like it
face
kind
now?
of, yeah, it was kind of cutting off the
Oh,
top half of your head a little bit.
I
Perfect.
just scoop back.
Yeah. So just to clarify, the molded top can be worn by which divisions? I know that's a newer, really
The
popular style.
molded top, I think, for anyone really.
Mhm.
And it's more of it's like cupped, but it
Yeah.
allows to bring like the boobs together more, and then you could create a fuller look. So it's for any division, but the bra top is mostly for the wellness division, and we launched it about 3 years ago when wellness first came out, when they were still trying to figure out the standard,
Yeah.
because I know they were still trying to figure out the bottoms with connectors or whatnot. And I don't see too many people ordering the bra top now for wellness. Now it's more of like the regular moderate slim or the molded cut, but it just depends on your physique, your breast size and your needs.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. I mean,
Hmm.
even the molded top can even be for, say, figure, correct, or women's
Yes.
physique.
Hmm.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really, really neat.
And then if you are deciding for your new suit, if you're deciding between molded or regular, you could definitely order a posing suit in a molded top style to see if you like it. And then you could
Yeah.
decide if you want that for your future stage suit. That's what I always tell clients.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what's
Awesome.
great about the posing suit options is because every design style is made in a posing suit. So you can always, if you're ever
Yes,
curious how something's going to fit, you can always order it as a posing suit, wear it a few times, pose practice, check in photos, things like that. And then you'll know when you're making that larger purchase for your actual suit, how everything's going to fit and
totally.
if you actually like it.
Totally. And you could
Mhm.
wear it to the pool too. So that's what's nice about our posing suits. It's versatile.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Awesome. The new design guide looks so good.
Oh, I know. And then we have like our front types. Um, the traditional is you know, the traditional. We've had this for many years, but we've kind of made some tweaks to it over the years. As you know, when we first started in 2020 or 2014, it was just really small. But as you know, the years went along, it became more coverage, and it is high hip. So all of our coverages are high hip, and all you have to do is just pull it higher on the hip to create the look. We recently just launched the bikini scoop, which is a really nice option. We launched it because it was going to be the in-betweener between traditional and the wellness V cut. A lot of bikini clients were ordering the wellness V cut, so we kind of made like a in-betweener, the bikini scoop, and I love it because if it helps you to create illusion of more hips, that's what the bikini scoop.
Yeah. And I know we tried this last year because the wellness bottoms, I think, look amazing on so many athletes. I know a really common example is like Sierra Swan, Amy Delgado, wear that cut. I tried it. It looked ridiculous. So the wellness V cut, Jamie wanted me to try that, and then it just was a no-go. So when you guys came out with the scoop, it was like that perfect middle ground.
Oh my God. It's perfect on you. Because now you have the scoop. That's what we're going.
Yeah, I have the scoop now. Yeah, we decided the scoop was best. Yeah. Yeah, Mary said I looked like Borat in the wellness V cut.
In the wellness. Oh no.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like nice.
Go ahead.
It's nice. It's like if you're local, if you see us at an event, or I would book a fitting just to try the different options on. But if you need help, it's definitely book a design call with Sammy or me, and we could definitely help you pick the perfect front coverage that complements your physique.
Yeah. And we'll post the booking link too with all the episode notes, so anyone can go on and book a fitting in person or virtually.
Yay. Thank you.
That's what's nice too is like when we do our suit fittings, we have you send in check-in photos so that we can see what your current physique looks like, what your bikini or your posing suit, your practice suit looks like on you, what a previous suit looks like on you, so that we can really kind of tailor your suit exactly to your body type and your shape. So it's definitely very
very custom.
That's the word I was looking for.
So the front coverages, okay, we have so many different customized options for front coverage. I don't believe the design guide has all of them. So if someone is needing a special cut, or they want to cover something, or what has worked in the past isn't working, you know, we will make sure you are covered. We want you to go on stage covered, not hanging out. So these are in the design guide, burn book, I'm just kidding. In the design guide, the front coverages are general sizing. And but let's say you have a longer torso. So for me, I have a long torso. I'm 5'5", and usually I'll fall into like the high front category. But because I have a really long torso, I want to make sure, you know, the front bottoms comes up higher to give me more of that balanced look. So I'll even go like extra high plus or extra high plus one. So yeah, or like if a client has more muscle, you know, you definitely want to go higher in the front coverage, because having more muscle will take away from the front height.
You're right. There's so many options too, Margaret, because I think my front coverage at 6 feet is like +2, and I think it's +2.5.
Yeah, it's not on there, but we got it. So
yes, for the tall ladies, or ladies who might have C-sections or tummy tuck scars or abdominal surgeries, like it's always a nice option to have that. Because I know my first suit, I felt like I was hanging out, but that was a long time ago.
I actually have those on the presentation, the PDF. I'll have to send it over to you, but I have comparison of you, I think, in a high front, and then extra high +1, and then I have you, I think, extra high +2. It's all in a little thing. So one of my clients sent me
one of my clients attended the women's workshop that you spoke at, and she was sending me videos of your presentation. You're right. I think it was my 2018, 2019, 2020 suit. So as those years were progressing, Toxic Angels was offering more and more cuts. And so each year
Yeah.
we kept realizing, oh, I'd actually look better if I had more. And it was like each year I just kept going higher.
Okay. Thank you for being our model.
I appreciate you guys including me.
Yes.
Notice too, when we say those on bookings, everybody gets super like apprehensive when we're talking about like extra high. The difference between each one is just about half an inch. So when we're saying like extra high +1 or extra high or high front, everyone's a little apprehensive. They're like, I don't want it to completely cover me. And we're like, nope, that only a half difference. Like you'll notice it'll look super like flattering on you, but it's not a huge difference to where you feel like you're wearing a high-waisted, bikini bottom.
And I think all those like different options, like extra high +1, and it's just a lot too. Sounds a lot. But no, we will make sure you're not wearing a huge front diaper. We want to make sure you're covered. And again, like, if you have a longer torso or more muscle, we're going to go higher in the front coverage for you.
For sure. How about these bottom coverages? Because I know this is something that really can depend just based on your physique, not necessarily your height or anything.
Yes. So these are just standard cuts, standard sizing. The mid coverage, the Brazilian, is not recommended for the NPC. But let's say you are, like your glutes are really, really full. If you wear the Brazilian, it's going to look really small on you. It'll almost look like Pro Cut. But most of the clients, they do order the Pro Cut, especially if it's your first show. But let's say if you are, 5'2" or under, depending on how full you are in your glutes, I always will veer more towards the Micro Pro, because you're shorter, you're petite. So having the Micro Pro, it will look like a Pro Cut on you. It will look bigger than what it does like on this model right here. But other times there's some clients who are just like really, really tiny, and we have to do a custom cut, and we can do that. But that's where, our stylists will help you with that too. Also, what I wanted to
how about
add
for
too
pros? Because I know the X Micro came out a few years ago, I believe, for I think it was created for Jessica Wilson, right?
Yeah, I think we started with Jessica Wilson. And yes, I feel like some of my clients now wear the X Micro. It just depends on your frame, your body. But, sometimes clients, I will veer them more towards the Micro, and then if they want it smaller, they could send it back and I'll just extra scrunch the butt, because it's better to do that than to go with the X Micro and then get disqualified and then you can't add fabric to it. Unless the client could go in an X Micro, but usually I would suggest Micro Pro, and then just extra scrunch the butt a little bit so that the fabric comes up more tight and smaller in the back.
Yeah. I would say
a happy medium.
For sure. And just maybe as some examples and things too for, some of the pro athletes that wear the suits, like someone like Ariel Barley, if I remember, because I did one of her Olympia suits, she wears Pro Cut because she's got very full glutes. And if she went smaller, it would look worse on her, because now all of a sudden her glutes would almost be too prominent. Someone like Jessica Wilson, she's more petite. Her physique is more just balanced. I wouldn't say her glutes are overpowering. So that X Micro, I think it was created, maybe if I'm remembering correctly, after the Pittsburgh Pro, where that was the first year she did her like mint suit, and it just looked like so much fabric, right? And so that's how the X Micro was created for her. And then for some athletes, the X Micro, like you said, I think it can almost make your glutes look smaller, because since there is such little fabric up top, if your upper glute shelf is not really, really full, it kind of shows that lack of depth. So like if you guys remember, like I think 2 years ago, I tried on both. I tried on the X Micro and the Micro, and the X Micro actually made my glutes look smaller.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So those ones in particular, that's where like the power of doing a fitting either in person or virtually can be great, because it's not as straightforward as you'd think. Like you would think, the smaller the person, I should do a smaller coverage. But someone like Ariel, if she did X Micro, they might be like, whoa, girl, you look like wellness now, and same thing for me. I'm trying to make my glutes look bigger. So I might think, the smaller cut will be better, but it's actually the opposite. That middle of the road cut is the best one. So just wanted to kind of touch on that.
And
Yeah.
I think that's a
Thank you,
great
Laura.
point. And I'm glad you mentioned that because I've
Mm-hmm.
noticed, and like I've only done a handful, right? I just started with Toxic, but I've noticed at fittings, people will be like, oh, well, so and so does this cut. So that's the cut that I want. Or I know someone who wears this, so I want this. And that's
Mm-hmm.
where the emphasis of everything is customized to your body type, your structure, your frame is so important to stress
Totally.
because, like you said, an X micro on one person is not as flattering on as an X micro on another person.
No.
The way that it complements your glutes or the way that it helps shape your glutes on stage is a big thing that especially girls in NPC need to be aware of and keep in mind because it's not for everybody. Obviously, we want our glutes to be as full as possible, but if you're wearing an X micro, that's not going to be the case, Laura, like you said, unless you have that upper glute shelf that is just popping on stage. So I think that's a big thing, most importantly for NPC girls to realize that when it comes to bottom cuts, it's super important to just pick what's best for your frame as opposed to what your friend or somebody else is wearing.
Totally. And another thing like I touched on at the workshop was how to wear your bottoms correctly. Because a lot of times clients will hike up the bottoms all the way up on their back and it elongates their glutes and it's supposed to sit on your upper glute shelf, like right above your glute. But when you have your bottoms like too high on your back, it makes the front part of the bikini really low and almost bunchy because it's supposed to be sitting higher in the front. And I just notice a lot of clients do that. Like if they're on stage, like their stage photos, and I wish I was almost there because I want to just tell them to pull it down and do a little scoopy thing, but I touched on that on the workshop because it's really important to make sure you are wearing your bottoms correctly, not on your back.
Mhm.
Because
And
that will
judges
change
will
the way you
comment
look.
on that too. If
Yeah.
you're wearing your suit wrong, that will be, I've heard that many times, like judges give that feedback to athletes of like, hey, your bottoms look a little high or a little low in the back. So
Oh, good.
making sure that you know how to wear it is so crucial.
Mm-hmm. So many factors.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this is even just like a visual representation of what. So this is Alexandria Ross in X Micro. 2 is Gabriella Muhammad in X Micro. And then Karen's wearing a Pro. So just the difference in their structure, their shape, and the different cuts, just so there's a more of a visual aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And there's wellness.
Awesome. Yeah. We kind of touched on the wellness coverage a little bit with the bottoms.
Mm-hmm.
And then same for figure. We have the different styles.
Different front coverages. Yep. And the bottoms. Or figure bottoms, they do run a tad bit bigger. So I've just been kind of sizing down.
Got it.
Yeah. I know, opposite, right? But yeah, I've been kind of sizing.
And that's why doing the fittings again is so helpful because you can get all these little pieces of advice and direction directly from, the boss lady of Toxic Angels herself.
Or Sammy.
Or Sammy, yeah. Or Mary or Kat or any of the other amazing people. Yeah. Cool. How about connector?
So BC, okay, so we go by top and bottom connectors now, as Sammy knows. And then it like the BC14, the single row connectors, I actually have them here. Actually, I have some suits here. Okay, so so the BC14 connectors are the most like popular trending right now. They are with bigger stones and they're single row. But we also have the BC13, which is a single row, but it's small stones. But these are kind of like our popular ones. Another one that you could choose is like the BC16. So if you look at the BC16, it has 2 rows, but it's with small stones. So it kind of becomes to be the same width as this because this is single row with big stone. And then the BC16 is double row with small stones, if that makes sense. And then you can see like we do offer, the fence connectors. I think it's BC8. And then we also offer some of the fancy ones. BC1, Jessica Wilson, it's Jessica Wilson's favorite. It's kind of like a zigzag style, and that's popular too. But yeah, a lot of clients order the single row, and then the middle row, the MC11 is the matching for the single row connectors. And if you look at the, I don't know if you can see me. If you look at the middle connector, it is a little bit wide, but it does match the BC14. And this is the only connector that is wide that you could actually bring closer together. So all you have to do is just slide the connectors inside the bottom of the cup. Like, I don't know if you can see it. Okay. Do you see what I did? Kind of made it smaller.
So what you're saying, Margaret, is that this is the only adjustable width connector. Yeah. Yeah. I love that one for that reason. I think it's probably the best for most people.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Is that Jen Dory's suit that you've got there?
This is. Oh, what were you saying, Sammy?
It's especially too if you're unsure of how you're going to have to adjust your suit. You're not sure if you want that, a little bit more of a gap in the center or to come closer. So if you're on the edge and you're not sure if you want something a little wider or something a little closer, like, it's a great
nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And then, but like if you do, and what's nice about this is it doesn't show strap right here. It's just all stone. So if you were to select like maybe MC6, you'll have a little piece of the strap in the middle showing, depending on how you wear your cups. And they are movable. We don't sew them down to the connectors, but if you want the cups sewn to the middle so that you can't move it, we have that option. But right now we have it so that you can adjust it.
Yeah.
Each
also,
way you want
too,
it.
just notice how in the best way possible. Notice how Margaret is handling the bikini. She's able to like stretch it and move it, and there's no problems, right? Like no stones are falling off, nothing is coming undone, and she's handling the suit. Like obviously, be gentle with your suit. You want it to last a long time, but you don't have to be so scared or delicate with it and be afraid of it breaking, because it's not going to.
Yeah, no, it's not going to break. The only thing that I would suggest is for clients, make sure your connector is not twisted like this, and then you go to tie it, or having, the middle connector super twisted and then you tie it, because what happens is it weakens the link in between the crystals and it can break. So what I suggest for clients is how you wear the bottom, kind of put your fingers underneath your bottoms and slide it up on your body. So make sure it's not twisted. But as long as you make sure the connectors aren't twisted, you could be how you want with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a reel on the Toxic Angels page. Maybe we could pull up if we have time, where you guys ran over a bikini in the bikini case.
We should.
I was dying when you guys did that.
And Mary was like, "Margaret, you ran it over twice. The front wheel and the back wheel." I was like, "I didn't know. I was just I wanted to make sure I ran it over and it didn't slide out, And I'm like, "Ooh." But it was so funny. Oh my God. That was funny.
Yeah. Hilarious. So I think we're almost towards the end of the design guide. What are some of the other like extras or add-ons that clients could add to it?
Yeah, so we have like the back connector option. So the back connector it's like a crystal gems that goes across your back, and you can select the different styles, and it has a hook in the back like a bra. But but you can't adjust it. Even though we do get your final measurements when your suit is all done, those aren't adjustable. What I've been recommending to clients is doing the back connector with the tie option. So if you scroll down, it would have the bling, right? But then you could still tie it. And I always tell them it's like having the best of both worlds, because when you turn, you could see the bling on your back, but then most of the times your hair will cover the tie, and it's nice, and it's a nice addition.
Awesome. Yeah, super pretty.
I'm totally doing that this year.
Yeah.
I think I've done it the last 2 years, the purple suit and then the blue and red, and I've loved it every time. So pretty.
It's so nice having that adjustable option, not
Hmm.
having to worry. And then
Yeah.
we always get your final measurements when your suit is all done. Since a lot of times, like during the call, the client's like, well, what if it doesn't fit? I'm like, it's gonna fit. We're gonna make sure it fits. So usually, on the design call, we'll just ask for like height, weight, bra size, and a lot of photos. And then we'll get clients fitted based off of, that with the suit cuts. And then once their suit is all done, we will get their final measurements to sew to their body. And usually, like when clients send over their final measurements, we'll sew it a tad bit tighter to compensate for them cutting. So usually it'll feel a little bit snug when they get it, but then as they cut, it'll fit perfectly. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome.
And
Yeah,
that's
this
just
looks so
nice.
good.
And for anybody that's wondering, the design guide is available on the Toxic Angels website. So if you guys go to the website and you want to look over this a little bit more in detail, it is available for you right there on the
Yeah.
website.
Yeah, and we'll make sure to link that as well as the booking link
Thank
for
you.
the fittings and everything. But I would love to, and maybe we can poke around on the website or some of the collections and things. I would love to talk about not just when should someone order their suit, like what should they anticipate, but I would also love to pick your brain, Margaret, on what trends and styles you think are going to be coming up
Yeah.
for this year and beyond.
So I would recommend you not wait till the last minute, but order
But
about.
they could if they wanted to,
They
right?
could, yeah. So I've had clients message me on a Monday, and she's like, I need a suit by Saturday, and she lived in Canada. And I did it. We made her suit by the next day, shipped it the next day. She got it the following day. So it is possible, but don't wait till the last minute. But if there's an emergency, we will take care of you. I think I've even gotten a suit within a week all the way to like Taiwan before. It's possible, but normally you want to wait like 12 to 14 weeks, or you want to order 12 to 14 weeks out from your show. It takes about 4 weeks for production time, but then that way you have your suit to pose in beforehand and all of that. And again, we always get your final measurements when your suit is all done, and then we'll just sew it a little bit tighter to compensate for cutting. And so, when you get your suit, it'll feel tight, but then as you start cutting, then it'll fit perfectly. So that's kind of like what we do. And then we do offer, 1 day rush if you need it, or like 1 to 2 week rush option as well. And then
Awesome. So
trending.
what is just for, I may not know the correct answer anymore, but like, let's say somebody they want to order their suit and they don't want to avoid a rush fee, but maybe they're a little bit of a procrastinator. Like what's the cutoff that someone could order a suit and avoid any rush fees?
Yeah. So I would say like 8 weeks.
8 weeks? Okay.
Yeah. Like 7, 8 weeks. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
And two, with Toxic, we do free adjustments. So if at any point you continue competing, you've just bought this suit, you're absolutely in love with it, you don't want to order a new one, you can send it back with new measurements and we'll adjust it for free. Or at the show, we do come to a lot of the shows across the US. So if we are at your show and you need an adjustment same day, we can do that for you as well.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then the trends. Okay. Huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say.
I don't know if y'all know what I'm going to say, but I feel the velvet, the whole velvet collection is going to be the trend of 2024 because I'm just so obsessed with all the colors. It's very classy and it's just so vibrant on stage. It's just a whole different look. And I pulled a Jennifer Dory suit here. This is like a velvet teal suit. I don't have that. I don't have
So
that
pretty.
on here, but it's so pretty. So here we put like teal and lime stones on it, and on stage it's just so pretty. And then I have this really rich, I think this one's the velvet bright red.
Ooh.
But it's just so rich and like classy. I'm just in love with the whole velvet line, and a lot of our clients have been ordering the velvet posing suits. That way they can try the cuts before they actually order their stage suit. So I would definitely recommend that. But I definitely The velvet is going to
Whose
be
suit is
in.
that, Margaret? Is that
This is
a
just a quick
particular
ship
piece?
suit. These are just
Okay.
quick ship. Yeah.
It reminds me of
But
the suit that Ariana Brothers wears,
yes,
the
it
red
actually is.
velvet.
Yeah. This one, and then who else wore this one?
Amy wore that color, right? Just not in
Amy
the molded.
wore, for her Olympia suit, she wore this color, and then she had like a splash of dark red and then a splash of the fuchsia shimmer stones on it. But it is
Pretty,
very similar to this one. I just love
pretty.
how rich it is on stage.
Yeah,
It,
and that's which color? That's the velvet dark red?
this is the velvet bright red.
Bright red.
And
Got it.
I know we have like velvet bright red and velvet dark red, but they're both bright red. It's only because it's like the dark red is just a little bit deeper than the bright red, but it's still a bright red. But we had to like distinguish the two, so that's why we named it like that. In case you're wondering.
Super pretty.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah.
Velvet, I think velvet teal is going to be my next posing suit. I'm so obsessed with it.
I think we're
Mercury
gonna see a lot of greens and teals and stuff coming back this year, just because I
I
mean
love
Jen
it.
looked amazing during, in her win and in that suit. And green hasn't really been popular since, I mean, the way it was, like I feel like it was really, really popular 2017-ish, 2016, 2017.
Yeah, and the mint, like Jessica Wilson's mint, is so pretty too.
Mhm. Yeah.
The one with the pink,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah,
And Jordan Brandon, she wears the tricot
Aqua.
aquamarine, which is kind of gives that similar
Yeah,
minty mermaidy
I
vibe.
love
So
it.
I think my guess is this year we're going to see a lot of greens, teals, those types of colors on stage, just because of what our top Olympians were wearing.
I'm
I love
excited
it.
for that.
I'm
Yeah.
excited for that.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be
Me too.
different, because like it used to be just be all red.
Yeah. Are there other color trends or other trends that you see this year, Margaret, or that you're anticipating will be very popular?
Maybe like our iris. It's kind of like between
Yeah.
it's a blue purple
Yeah. Can
color,
we pull
and
up a picture of that one? Maybe there's
yeah,
a
I think one is a TFS 172, and it's just so pretty. You can make it more purple, you can make it more blue, and I know a couple clients like Karen Young.
Karen and Malou, I
She,
think, have worn it, right?
yeah, Malou has it more. Malou wore like a plum, but Karen wore it, and she has pink in hers.
Oh, Jessica Wilson wore the iris,
Yes,
correct?
yes,
Yes,
and
okay.
she has a lot of like the lighter stone colors on hers,
Mhm.
but
Okay, yeah, and Frida wore it as well
mhm.
in
So
wellness. Yeah, it's such a beautiful color.
It's so pretty.
It's like that, yeah, like you're saying, like that medium purpley bluish tone.
great. I just did an in-person fitting last week or the week before that, and we had a girl try this one on, and I had her like face the like natural light. With the natural light. It looked so good.
It's
so good.
so pretty.
It's gonna pop. Yeah.
So pretty. It reminds me of Laura Lee's suit, just with a different fabric. Laura Lee
Yeah.
Autos.
Yep. Yeah, because hers is like a slightly darker fabric, but maybe with a lighter mix of stones to give that medium purpley blue look. Yeah. It's so cool, the combinations you can come up with the fabrics and stones.
So many.
So how about other trends, Margaret? I know it's always evolving, but if I were to speculate, I would say things maybe like the molded top will continue to be really popular.
I think the molded top is actually going to continue to be really popular. A lot of people are ordering it for posing suits. And we have a lot of orders with the molded top, and I would definitely, recommend it. Even with, I've had clients that have worn our suits before and just had the regular style tops, but then they put on the molded and they have implants, like, wow, it just feels so good. So that's good to know. But yes, molded top, and then I feel like a lot of the clients will be ordering more of the scoop version, because in 2023, a lot of the bikini girls were wearing the wellness. But now that we came out with the scoop, it's the cross between traditional bikini front and the wellness. A lot of clients are going to be wearing that as well. So I like all the new things.
Super excited.
Yeah. So it'll be really awesome to see all of that this year. We've got some big shows coming up. I mean, the Arnold's coming up. We're going to
Yeah.
have the pro shows really kicking off as we get into March and April. And, you know, some of the really big shows like Pittsburgh Pro and New York Pro coming up in the spring. So it'll be cool to see what all the top athletes are wearing and kind of see some of
Yay.
those trends. Is there anything else, Margaret, that, you know, you want to talk about as far as Toxic Angels this year, or things we should expect,
No.
or anything personally that you're doing this year that you're really excited about?
No. Oh, we are expanding. So we are expanding next door. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, I think we touched on everything. Just making sure that you book a fitting or design call with us so we can help you get sized. And I always feel, and like if you do order online, I go through all the orders that come through when you order on your own online. And if something looks off, I will contact you. I'm not going to make you go on stage with something that's not customized properly. So just know that. But it's always good to book a call.
Yeah. And ladies can, or athletes can book fittings for the Arnold, correct? The expo?
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. So that'll be a few weeks. Can do an in-person fitting with Margaret, Sammy, or anyone else on the team. So that'll be really neat. Awesome.
Yeah, so
well,
on the website too, we have a list of all of the shows, expos, things like that we'll be at, and you can always book an in-person fitting at any one of those. So you can take a look there to see what actual events we'll be at.
Yeah, perfect. So we'll link all of this for anyone to find really easily. So thank you so much, Margaret. This has been awesome as always to catch up with you. You're a very inspiring entrepreneur and businesswoman, and I think you set a great example for many of us in this sport and as women in general. So thank you again for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on here. I feel like next time we should do like a design your suit on someone.
Oh, we should.
Like a fitting. We should do it like a live fitting.
Let's do it. Let's do. And we could do. Yeah, we could even do like a YouTube live or something. Yeah, let's do that. I would love it.
That would be fun.
Love it. Awesome.
Okay.
Well, thanks, ladies.
You girls are the best. Thank you so much for having me.